Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today I want to talk about motion sickness on cruise ships. Now this video is going to be kind of specifically towards Alaska cruising, since that was the trip we just came on, and in all my trips on cruise ships, Alaska definitely is or has been the most nauseating. However, a lot of these tips you can use for any cruise that you plan on going on. So, my first tip is going to be room location. Now, the first Alaska cruise I went on, I was midship on a balcony, and I thought it was worse than being in the aft, but it's very hard to tell. And you'll see a lot of different advice about where to stay on the ship. Should you get an interior room? Should you be in the middle, etc., etc.? My personal opinion is definitely stay away from the front of the ship. But other than that, I didn't really see much of a difference on this particular cruise about cabin location. My second tip is if you have some flexibility, you may want to consider leaving from Vancouver instead of Seattle. If you leave through Vancouver, you are going to experience more of the inside passage and less time out in the Pacific Ocean. So that may also be something to consider. My next tip is regarding motion sickness medicine. Now, there's different medicines out there. You can take Dramamine, Bonine, or Bonine. I don't know how to say it. I don't take that one. The other thing is if you are going for Dramamine, if you go to like Walmart, they have a much cheaper generic option as well that works just as well. The next tip is to always have snacks in your room and don't get an empty stomach. So basically, first thing in the morning, they have little boxes of cereal. You can maybe bring a couple of those back to your room. So that way, if you wake up at night and are feeling nauseous, or you wake up in the morning, you can have some carbs in your stomach just to kind of settle it a bit. The other thing that I like to do on this past cruise is in the morning, even the early risers breakfast, they typically had some bread and some sliced deli meats and cheeses, and just having a little sandwich was perfect. And then throughout the day, just try not to get an empty stomach. For me, as soon as I get an empty stomach, it's like game over. Keeping on these, there are different foods that you can also eat. A lot of people know about the ginger candy that you can bring on board. But one thing that someone had mentioned to me, and I looked it up, and apparently it's a thing, is green apples. There is a chemical in green apples that helps settle your stomach, so that may also be something to take a look at. Now, if you're thinking about getting one of those motion sickness patches that goes behind your ear, you do see a lot of people with those on cruises. However, my suggestion with that is to try it out. And even if you're trying like Dramamine for the first time, try it out before you go on the cruise ship, especially the patch behind your ear. My mom had done that on a trip once, and she had a severe reaction to it. And so you definitely don't want that to happen with you when you're on that cruise. So definitely, get an extra patch, try it like a week or two before you go. Make sure you don't have any side effects. Now, one of the biggest pieces of advice I have that may not be popular for people is if you are prone to motion sickness, please consider opting out of the alcohol package. I know. Cruise ships usually have alternatives. So, like on a Norwegian, they have a Starbucks package. On other cruise lines, they have like a non alcoholic soda package. You could do non alcoholic drinks, like the espresso drinks, stuff like that. So, most cruise lines do have some sort of package if you still feel like you want to have something, but not only will alcohol make you, a little sicker if you're already sick, it's going to dehydrate you. And if you're taking Dramamine, it could also increase the amount of drowsiness. Now, I really debated putting this in here, but I'm going to go over it. The last piece of advice I have is that if you've never gone on a cruise before and the idea of being motion sick on a cruise freaks you out, makes you not want to go to Alaska, I'm going to make a suggestion. Try a 3-day cruise first. It's just an idea. That way, if you absolutely hate being on the ship, you hate the motion sickness, you hate whatever, you don't have to commit to a week. Now, if you're going to do this, a couple things. First, make sure you're going on a similarly sized ship than you would in Alaska. So if you're planning on going on the Norwegian Sun in Alaska, don't book your 3-day cruise on Oasis of the Seas. They're very, very different sized ships. And the other thing is, if you are going to do that, please try to remember that the clientele, the energy, it's going to be very different on a 3-day cruise. Those are like booze cruises versus going on a 7-day Alaska cruise. Even a 3 to a 7-day, Caribbean cruise is much different. But if you think that maybe going on that 3-day cruise may turn you off from cruising, then this is probably not a good idea for you to do it. But if you know that the Alaska is something you definitely want to do and you just want to try it out first, it's definitely something to think about. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any other ideas or things that have helped you with motion sickness on these cruises, please leave a comment below and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.